Definitely prayers. My prayers and thoughts are out there with you guys. Rest in peace. Today, some terror attacks in Spain. About 50 injured, 13 confirmed dead. Definitely keeping those people in their prayers. And just real quick, in this week's savagery, before I introduce my guest, a woman by the name of Lisa Theris. I don't know if I'm saying her name right, but she was found in Alabama woods, butt naked, after 20 something days. Doesn't know how she got there, but she survived off rainwater and berries. Shout out to her for going hard. She's a savage. Today I have on my show two of my favorite people, one of the favorite couples I have in the world, in America, live and direct by way of New York. High school sweethearts. Earlier than that, high school sweethearts. Nobody even does that anymore. High school sweethearts to college. I think TJ followed her.
I mean, if you let Danny say it, yeah.
I'm gonna go with whatever Danny says. High school sweethearts to college, marriage,
Yep.
parenthood,
Yes.
and the two stars of the TBD show, right? TBD.
To be determined.
To be determined. And I have Miss Danielle Byerson, Danny Byerson,
Hey, everybody.
and Terrence
TJ
Byerson.
What's going on, people?
Welcome. How y'all doing?
Doing really well. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I talk to the mic. Make sure you bring close to you. Bring close to you.
Closer.
Bring it close to you, so you can almost hear echo and all of that.
Right.
But it was real. It was real cute just now how they were talking, and I asked both of them a question, and they both looked at each other like, "How are we doing? Are we good?" That's crazy. That's crazy. And you guys been married now for how long?
It was 4 years in March.
4 years in March. I was there. It was a beautiful wedding. I had a dope time. And you guys have a new beautiful baby.
Yes.
Congratulations once
Thank
again.
you. We have a little 4-month-old girl named Tatum.
Yeah.
Tatum. Thank God she looks like her mama.
Everyone's
God bless.
like me, so.
Wrong. Wrong. So how is parenthood for you guys?
Tough.
Damn! Tell them how you feel, TJ. Danny?
I would describe it as the way when people ask me the question, I say it's exhausting and amazing at the same time.
Exhausting and amazing at the same time. She's 4 months.
4 months.
4 months. It gets better. Yeah, this is the toughest time. It gets better. Well, shout out to Diamond K. I usually introduce this man. He runs this project here. He's always here. Today was the first time that I beat him here, that I've been here. He has his morning show live, DJ Diamond K, 9 a.m. You can catch him on radioonfire.com, radioonfire.com. Always bringing the heat. He was beefing with Roland Martin during Nationals. He's a savage. He's the man, though. That's my guy running the show. So it's beautiful, but it's tough. I mean, 4 months is usually at the time where it's like it's kind of tough because they're not sleeping and you don't really know what they want or what they're doing. But around a year, it gets real easy.
Yeah, it's getting better, slowly but surely. We go from 2 hours and every 2 hours to every 4 hours so I'm not complaining. She's right on track and doing everything she's supposed to be doing and more. So, I'm tired, but I can't complain.
She's pledging you.
Yeah, the hate is for real.
But I mean, the thing is, you guys get to pledge her for the rest of her life. So, I mean,
I guess so.
That's how we get down. I mean, on this show, we support asshole fathery. I'm an asshole father, and I'm proud of it. I don't think you'll ever be. I can see Danny being the strong disciplinarian.
Definitely not.
And you giving her all of the passes in the world. I can see it happening.
Okay, we'll see.
I can see it happening. I can see it happen. Civil War.
You know how daddies and daughters are.
That's cool.
I mean, sometimes I am a daddy's girl, but I gotta be the drill sergeant. So, but I don't think TJ has it in him, man.
It's crazy to me.
But you guys been together since high school.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you survived college,
Yes, we did.
married, first child, going strong. Y'all like peas in the pod. Y'all are like my favorite two people, except when Danny's being shady during fight parties. But it's cool.
What?
Then when Danny's on her queens, her side of Queens. What side of Queens are you from again?
I'm from Hollis. Queens.
When she's on her Hollis tip and being shady, she don't have no love for me.
Hollis girls ain't shady.
That's a lie.
With everything.
That's a lie. That's a lie. But how did you guys? Oh no, I never had a queen short.
You don't know what you're missing.
I can't remember. But here's the thing.
Don't incriminate yourself.
Facts. How did you guys do it? I mean, there's a lot of people out here that can't keep somebody for 1 week. Like, how did you guys do it? Danny?
I think we were neither of us were ever really one for like a game plan. I would say, I always remember the conversation that I had with like my mother and my father about when I left for college because I'm a couple months older than him. So I was always
facts.
She's a year older than me, but
8 months.
Cougar.
Don't get it twisted.
Cougar.
Shut up.
You gotta round that up.
So
Exactly.
You're interrupted. Reclaiming my time. Thank you. So I remember when I was leaving for college and I was, about to, start Towson and, they were like, there's going to be guys, and I was just kept saying, like, I'm gonna ride this thing till the wheels fall off. I'm like, if there was a reason, there's a reason. If there's not, then there's not. And there's never been a reason. And
wow.
And so
shout out to Danny. Can we get the sound effect? Shout out to Danny for being real.
That's very rare.
That is rare than I don't know what else.
And I mean, I felt like we grew up together. We kind of went through all the motions together, and where that sometimes with some couples that breaks them up, tears them apart, it kind of brought us together. EJ, I'm done with you.
Out of control.
So that I think is one of the reasons.
So the things that break people up actually brought you guys together.
Yeah, all the milestones you hit in your late adolescence, early adulthood that we went through just kind of brought us together, as opposed to tearing us down because we kind of pushed through and persevered. And, I think trust was a big thing. Like, I was always able to trust TJ. Like, I never worried. I never wavered. And with, when you have that, why throw it out the window for something that is not guaranteed?
Kobe, she just came through with the Kobe clutch. TJ, Danny is rare. And she's focused, but as a young man, following, her trajectory. Not saying you were following in her shadow, but she's a savage. But you went to Maryland to behind what she was already blazing, and how did you put that together to be like, this is what I want to do?
So originally, being from Harlem, I figured I was staying.
This guy,
I went to A. Randolph, City College is right there. That's where I thought I was going.
Mm-hmm.
But then I had my cougar, went to go visit her out in Towson, and it changed my whole perspective in college. Like, it just, I never seen that before.
Right.
I never seen like a meal plan. I never seen any of that. So it definitely opened my eyes. Like, oh, there's more than New York. And I always knew that was more in New York. Like, my mother always took us away. We traveled, but I just never thought I can go to out of state for school.
Right.
So, being with Danny, it kind of showed me different things. And with that, I went to Coppin for a year. That's where I got accepted to. And Coppin and Towson are two different
You've been down
schools.
Too long.
Yes. Yes.
So that kind of helped me with deciding, like, okay, I'm gonna go to Towson. I'm gonna go ahead because the amenities and everything that I wanted, Towson had.
And y'all stayed together that entire time.
Yep. No breaks.
No breaks, no nothing. So, speaking about that is interesting because, a lot of people today, what advice, you talked about the tough times, or not even the tough times, but different things that would have broke other people up. But you guys got stronger. Certain people go through relationship things. They believe, we should take breaks. We should have time off. We should go see other people. We could do these things. Like, I know you guys never wavered, literally, till this day. What advice would you give people out here? Because I always say this thing nowadays. It's like, y'all might not have seen it because I know, Danny, you're a little older. TJ's a young soul. He's a young old soul.
Oh,
but I know he didn't see the Steven Seagal movie. But it's like everybody want to die, but everybody want to go to heaven, but nobody want to die. Mm-hmm. That's what Screwface said. So I always say people want to get married, but they don't want to do the things that are gonna make you be married and stay married and be happily married and be with somebody. So you guys had to do a lot of sacrifice. You guys do a lot of sacrifice now. What advice would you give people out here that are watching Insecure on a Sunday night by themselves? We're going to talk about that later too. Mm-hmm. What advice would you give them, Danny? Well, go ahead, TJ. Go ahead, TJ. We'll feed you first. Go ahead.
I feel like it's about compromise. As you said, there are sacrifices, but you got to be okay with those sacrifices. You got to be okay with sometimes letting her lead and vice versa. So, I think that's the major thing for us. We're a team. We're a tandem. Like, we work well with each other. Even when we're not really messing with each other, mm-hmm. we're still a team.
Fact.
So,
and I would say, it's, the one thing I think about is that, well, first I want to say this, it's like, we are the exception, not the rule. And we get that. And I don't go out there, and anybody who knows me, whenever we talk about relationships and marriage, that I don't encourage people to be on the same path or trajectory that TJ and I were. That's just our path. That's our story. Thanks. But, and whatever your path and your story is exactly that. And you get to whatever outcome is meant for you. But what I say about relationships and about marriage is that it's not a job, but it's work. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the one thing I would have to say is that you have to work at it. You have to, it's never gonna be easy. Like, the butterflies and the fluttering in the stomach, that goes away. Don't get me wrong. It comes back too. It comes and goes, but it doesn't, it's not, you're not living a 24/7 honeymoon phase. And sometimes I think that's what people want, but also knowing what you are, like TJ said, willing to compromise on and what you won't stand for. And we, even though we kind of had to figure these things out as we were going on, because, I was 17 years old. I didn't necessarily know what I wanted out of every TJ aspect of my life.
No. Yeah. TJ was 16, though.
Whatever.
That's the difference, right? I'm going to leave it at that.
TJ was 16, though. She tried to put the 17 out there.
We
like,
can do the math game.
She was young.
Anyway.
And TJ knew what he was doing. No, but I mean, you guys touched on some things, and even though you guys are not the rule, you guys weren't always the exception. This you guys are a throwback. You are a look back into time. People that are high school sweethearts getting married and staying together. And I think the thing that I see from y'all all the time that I've always seen is that you guys truly invest in one another. Mm-hmm. People say it's a 50-50 thing. It's really a 100-100 thing. And it's similar to Chico and Coop, mm-hmm. where it's like Chico's not even here. Well, Coop is not even here. He's talking about Coop and what she's doing. Like when you posting, Danny, and you posting about TJ, it's genuine. It's real. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you're putting on this Facebook front like y'all good money mm-hmm. and y'all not. You like genuinely like, I love this guy. You know what I mean?
I do. And
like when TJ's out and he's talking about you and what's going on, it's like he's talking about his best friend, somebody that he knows, and loves to know. So I mean, I want to commend you guys for what you're doing, and you can't worry about being the exception of the rule. Y'all got to do what y'all do. I'm pretty sure people, on the passerby or whatever they say, they might not be jealous, but naturally people gonna want what y'all got.
Yeah, but it's and we appreciate that, and we respect the fact that people look to us or admire what we have, but in a lot of just so we know, like in a lot of ways, we're just like every other married couple who might have met when they were 30, who might have met when they were in college. We have the same issues and situations that any married couple do, because eventually just the fact that you're married, you encounter some of the same the same obstacles as anybody else. So. But our story is a little bit longer. We did we went through all the growing pains together,
and it's not over.
And it's not.
It's just getting started. It's just getting started.
We're in this new chapter with this, added parenthood.
It's getting popping. Like it's getting popping. I can't wait to see TJ in the stroller and baby attached to his chest. Like, let's get it popping.
Oh, he's so ready to do
You're not gonna see that.
We got to.
No.
We just gotta get the harness that's big enough for you. Pause. Facts. But
I'm definitely not doing that though. And it does fit, but I'm just not gonna do that. I'm just gonna, hold them on.
Oh, listen, you gonna want to get that joint.
He's saying all these like first time father things. Right?
Trust me, you gonna want to get that joint. Trust me.
He likes to learn the hard way. That's one thing I've learned in all these years.
That is a fact. TJ definitely does.
He loves to learn the hard way.
Definitely does.
I mean, listen.
But switching gears, both of you guys went to Towson University.
Yes.
And I think you may have been leaving, or you might. I know TJ was still around in different ways, but you might have been there. I don't remember how far behind you guys are, but everything that's going on that went on this past weekend in Charlottesville. There was a guy that went to Towson.
He sure did.
That started a similar group.
Tried to.
Well, he did.
Or did. So I wasn't there.
Yeah, so there was a guy.
A white student union.
Started a white student union, but he wound up
get approved
Heimbach, right?
Because the professor who was going to do it realized what he was trying to do.
And you always have to have a professor, a staff member.
He started something similar. I don't think they approved the white student union, but I think they approved some kind of group. They didn't approve anything?
They didn't approve any group. Okay. Because originally he said this is what he's trying to do.
Okay.
And the professor was like, okay, I understand. And then he said
it turned to something.
His actual motives.
It turned out to what he's trying to do. And he was like, I can't support that.
Right. So, I mean, not to give him, airtime, but, I'm making the connection that this guy was at Towson.
He was
at Towson. He was in Baltimore, Maryland. And, switching gears to Charlottesville, it was reported that he was out there because local Maryland news likes to connect Maryland shit to Maryland shit. And, we found out that he was out there and doing his thing. Diamond K looks disgusted right now. And so with everything that went on, the guy from Towson has been active.
He was at the Trump rallies. He was on national news.
National news, the whole
yelling
thing.
At people.
The whole thing. No. You here. You subject to the show. What are your thoughts on this whole thing, Danny?
They saw him. He was at the Trump rallies as well when he was still a candidate, and when protesters were coming to the rallies and interrupting his speeches. He was attacking people, yelling at them. You saw him clear as day. And I mean, I'm disgusted to know that he went to my alma mater.
He went to Towson, but I mean, aside from that, I was making a connection to y'all because you guys went to school with people that this guy, I mean, even if you weren't there, you went to school with people who might have had similar ideals and feelings.
Absolutely.
And I mean, we had a white student body at Delaware State University. A lot of them with different backgrounds and different ideals, but they weren't in a situation where they would have felt comfortable to do or say what he did. So saying that you were that close to someone, right, that was like this, or indirectly, and then knowing what happened in Charlottesville, I looked at your status the other day, Danny, and you were like, your timeline is silent about Charlottesville, and you like just the tone of you saying that. I just imagine you being pissed off, yelling at me in the basement during a fight party. But how do you feel about Charlottesville?
I mean, I'm like, most Americans, I would say, or most people.
Like everybody.
Yeah, I'm not like everybody, but I'm heartbroken. I'm disgusted. I'm outraged. I'm frustrated because, I was watching something on Facebook earlier today, and it was a clip from Don Lemon, and he mentioned the quote about those who fail to, basically, I'm paraphrasing, those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. And we're experiencing a repetition of the overt and outright hatred that our ancestors have experienced, our grandparents, our great grandparents, and beyond. And sometimes I feel helpless. Sometimes I feel frustrated. I'm a teacher, so I have to be prepared to have these conversations with my kids when I go into school. And sometimes I don't know what to say to them, because how am I going to tell them that, if you do right by people, if they, and you carry yourself in a certain way, then you're going to be okay when technically you're not. And that the person that you're sitting next to in class in college could be, a closet, but now and out of the closet, basically racist. And I I stand with those who went and were the counter protesters. I stand with those people who are fighting to have these Confederate statues taken down, because it is a dark time in our history, and how do I want to say this? It's a blemish on the stain of American history. You know, this country was built on the backs of slaves, and yet we're going to honor the people who tried to keep these people enslaved. No, everything, you know, there's a time and a place for everything, and now's the time and place for those things to go. What has me most frustrated and upset is that we do have a president in office who supports this, who does not have the testicular fortitude to condemn the condemnable. And, you know, him being elected has emboldened these racists, has emboldened these white supremacists. I'm not gonna call them white nationalists. There's white supremacists, they're racist, they're the Klan, these neo-Nazis. His election, his candidacy and subsequent election has emboldened people into thinking that it is okay to walk around with tiki torches and yell about, you know, Jews will not replace us, and talk about white lives matter. Absolutely not. So more than anything, I'm angry, and I'm nervous, because I have a daughter now, and I have to raise her in a world where she's going to look back and know that this was a time where she existed, and people did not like her based on the ethnicity that she was born, and she had no control over. So disgusted and frustrated is where I'm going to end that off.
Facts. TJ.
As an African American male, you know, it's scary. You know, if a police come behind me, I'm afraid. You know, I've been stopped by the cop in front of my apartment, not knowing what to do, and they asking, can they look in my car, or because me and my friend fits a description. You know, so my father has a saying, like, as long as you get home, make it home safe.
Make it home safe. You got to.
You know, so
that's what you got to do.
I think that's scary to know that in 2017 I have to still watch what I do, how I do it, because I may be perceived a certain way, and that can cost me my life. You know, with the Charlottesville thing, it's crazy that we're still going through that. You know, and it's crazy that, I mean, I put a post about it the other day that the Confederate flag it's acceptable, but you can't put up a Nazi flag. That's like the worst thing you can do. You can't say, you know, anything about Hitler. It's condemned, but if it's about black people, it's okay, and it's always okay. You know, a few years ago in school books, they tried to make slavery like it was a migration.
Yeah, Texas. They were trying to do it in Texas. Yeah. So
they had in the textbook that we were migrating, because they're trying to wipe it away like it's not that bad, but we still have all of this racism going on. And like my wife said, now it's acceptable. It's okay. And they feel bold that they can say and do whatever.
I mean, I think the biggest thing is, you know, for me, it's not a blemish in American history. It's just a reminder. Yeah. It's simply a reminder. Nothing has changed. I think we as a people continue to put the wool over our heads because we believe that a lot of people are in a certain tax bracket, that everything's okay. Donald Trump definitely made it cool to be racist and bold again. And, you know, unfortunately, this is the world that we've always lived in. And I've said it 1,000 times that until, you know, it was clear when this country and this nation allowed these organizations to be incorporated, you know, and I for one, I don't want to hear anything about foreign terrorism until we tackle domestic terrorism. This is the oldest form of American terrorism there is. It's documented that terrorists in the East have garnered their tactics from American terrorism, from the Ku Klux Klan. They've learned these tactics from American terrorists. And it's sad, you know, because we live in this time, and you guys, I understand your frustration, you know, being a parent of 3, you know, having this first child. This is a scary world to live in.
It is. You know, I remember, you know, voting in this past election, being pregnant, and I'm just like, the thing I put on Snapchat or whatever, it's like, you know, I can't have this baby born in a world where Donald Trump is president, but unfortunately, that's the case. I remember having to go to sleep because I felt so uneasy that I was like, this isn't good for me or the baby. That's how physically ill I felt watching those returns come in. And as far as what we need to see is how the same way how that horrible terrorist attack in Barcelona today was condemned immediately. That's what should have happened in Charlottesville when that thug, that hoodlum, exactly,
scumbag,
ran his car into the crowd, basically a murderer, and ran that car into the crowd, and that was a terrorist attack. That's domestic terrorism. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I'm tired of people mincing words. And what frustrates me, and I mean, it's not anything that surprises me, but we know politicians are always kind of about, they're characterized as being slick talkers, saying whatever they got to say to get the vote. But the spinelessness of our nation's leaders, because they're so busy trying to get their agendas pushed through, that they're willing to ignore the sociopath that's in the highest office in the land, is flabbergasted me. Like, to me, sometimes I'm more upset with the people in Congress, or the certain Republicans in Congress, who are willing to bend over backwards to explain away and excuse the behaviors and the actions of that man, because they want to get their agendas.
And it's not even Republican. I mean, you talked about the statues being removed here in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
I, for one, went on Facebook yesterday, and not to say, because I'm a firm believer that any action that is towards something good is a good action, but these statues have been here forever.
Mm-hmm. I think over 100 years for some of them.
Why is it that we've had a black city council membership for years? I mean, majority black for years on years on years, and honestly, they only removed these statues to be reactionary to the things that happened this Sunday. Granted, it's a smart tactic, because I think they're being reactive, and they're in a sense they're being proactive because they want to avoid what could happen.
Yeah, but what happened in Charlottesville is not going to happen.
It wouldn't happen here like that. It wouldn't happen here like that anyway.
In Baltimore, that would not stand for what they.
It would get very violent.
But not only that, though, you also got to think about it too, though. When you think about it, who are the majority of the people that were out there counter protesting? They weren't African American, and in this city, there are a lot of people that are black and African American that really didn't know anything about those statues.
Well, that's part. I mean, I can't.
They see them, but they don't know what it is.
They don't know what it is.
I can't. I can attest to that fact. I've been living in Baltimore for over 10 years now, and I've passed them probably all the time, but I've only probably driven past them, never really took the time to look at them, and just kind of chalked it up to whatever. And so some of it is it just kind of, ignorance is bliss and not realizing it. But I think it was a little bit of both. I think it was a little reactive because in light of what happened in Charlottesville, but proactive, like, let's get these down before they start trying to tear them down like they did.
I think it's for me the genuine move behind it. Like, I like the fact that it was done to avoid anything from happening. But you wasn't gonna see 100 people from McCullough Homes come up to Charles Street and boycott in front of that. You just wasn't. You know what I'm saying?
It's not. I don't think because they don't realize what's going on, but because I think in part because there's just because of the culture or the environment of the world we are living in today. Like, there is a legitimate fear of my white counterpart can go out and protest these things and be encountering of the white nationalists or the white supremacy. But if I go out there and a cop sees me, I'm going to be targeted.
Yep.
If I go out there and I'm doing the same thing as Joe Schmo next to me, that I'm going to be the one that ends up hurt or arrested or dead. And so there is a legitimate fear that, even though in my heart of hearts I know it's wrong, I know that my safety is in greater jeopardy than the white ally next to me who might be protesting next to me. It's crazy times. Like, it's
such a hard thing to really get a grasp on.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a hard thing to grasp on. If you want to call in, let me just speak to somebody. Facebook Live. If you want to call in, we're at 404-436-1277. 404-436-1277. TV, you were waiting to say something.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I and there again, the couple, the premium couple right there. He sees his wife is cooking. He's gonna dish it back. But I was kind of pissed off to the sense that it was reactionary in my feeling. I understood the safety thing. I understood how the good it could do. But honestly, it's like we able to move with that. That was one of the fastest things. One of the fastest things City Hall has ever done. The fastest. Diamond K saying this is the fastest thing City Hall's been able to move on. And it's like, I'm not trying to steal the thunder of a good thing, but it's like, yo, holla at me when the school situation.
It proves that we can move fast and stop.
We can move. We can get stuff done. Get the politics out the way. Holla at me when the school situation is getting done. Granted, I don't disagree with what was going on because I didn't mind. I would take my kids to the museum and I would look at the statue and I would be in amazement of how massive it was and just the facial expressions of what was going on and knowing what it was. Mm-hmm. A lot of people in this city of our demographic had no idea what these joints mean. And I say to people all the time, I want to take a tour of a lot of major cities and go around with the statues, but this is one of them. We have tons of statues. There's a huge statue that overlooks Lake Montebello, mm-hmm. A massive statue. I don't know much about this guy, mm-hmm. but he overlooks the lake that Black and brown people utilize every day. Mm-hmm. What do we know about them? What do we really know? And City Council felt that it was Brandon Scott who, in his district, schools lack crossing guards, schools lack traffic lights, schools lack speed cameras, all these different things, mm-hmm. was able to get these statues removed in the middle of the night and done away with. Great for the safety, but what was was it, and for me, I think I felt like, was it a publicity stunt?
No.
I don't think it was a publicity stunt. I think they were...
What do you know of me? Go ahead.
I think that it was, like you said, it was somewhat reactionary, somewhat proactive, because mm-hmm. what happened in Charlottesville struck a chord with a lot of people in this country, and and in urban cities across the country. And so I think if you have in situations like that, and the thing about it though is that there's not a lot of red tape around something like that. It doesn't require a lot of people to, pass a bill to vote on something. It's just kind of like, it was kind of a quick and dirty thing. So if you're able to do it, and they were able to do it, then that's fine. I think it was a little bit of both. I don't think it was anything.
I like it. I don't hate the move.
I'm happy.
I guess I'm just a little frustrated with city politics.
I don't get
the politics in general.
Yeah, politics.
Like I wish
people voted for Trump because they wanted anti-Obama so much that they went completely opposite.
It was a pendulum swing.
And at the end of the day, you don't have to like Hillary. You don't have to like Hillary, exactly. But she was the better candidate.
She was the better candidate. Anybody walking the dog, third eye blind would have been better than Donald Trump. But my thing is, like you mentioned Republicans. I think Republicans and Democrats are equally to blame. We have such a lackluster showing from our Democratic congressmen and local politicians. This city and this state has been highly Democratic for years. We just recently lost the governor's seat to Hogan, but we had O'Malley, a guy who ran Baltimore City, who got promoted for doing a bad job. He got promoted for doing a bad job. And then you talk about your state workers in 8 years, no raises, no nothing. Nothing improved in your biggest major city. I mean, it's like, this was our party. Mm-hmm. And it's like the same people that we vote for year after year, term after term, because they know us. They appeal to what we want to hear come election time. We have to start throwing out the factor of party and throwing in, what are you doing for me? Mm-hmm. Because I will tell you, the one thing the Republicans do, they listen to their damn constituents. You can't say that Donald Trump is not doing what he said and what his people wanted.
Well, but that's a small majority.
Got a caller? Go ahead. Let's take that. Let's take the caller. Hey, how you doing? You are now live with the Sophisticated Savages. Who we got?
This is Tavares. What up, EJ?
TJ Tavares, what's going on, my brother?
Not much, man. How you doing?
I am good. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, I'm a long time listener, first time caller.
My brother, former, well, always a Marine. Salute to you and your service and everything that you do for us, man. You know, you're a Miami Dolphins fan. I can't get with that, but you know, I definitely appreciate. Yeah, he's from Miami. He gets a pass.
Yeah,
he gets a pass. I mean, there's everything wrong with the Dolphins. So talk to me, man. Holla at me. What's going on?
So, I'm listening to the conversation and going back a little bit, I heard one of the folks that's on was talking about like being nervous about the police, and then the young lady that's on said the same thing. And me as a black man, I definitely agree with that. I have that same fear when I go out. But I would say the problem is that for us in the African American community, I know I'm overgeneralizing here, but we don't really show up at a level to vote that's representative of our population size. You know what I mean? And then you look at a lot of these areas, your local sheriff is appointed, is elected or whatever. We could show up in those elections and vote in somebody that would, enforce the law to a way that black folks aren't being killed in those particular constituencies or whatever. Y'all was talking earlier about how they were trying to rebrand slavery to talk about it was migration or whatever. That stuff is happening on the school board. Those school board members are elected. You know what I'm saying? So we got to show up and vote to get people in there that are going to represent us and set policy that represents us as well. Whereas we stay home and just kind of let stuff happen to us. I always tell, people around me in my own circle, as well as in our fantasy chat, part of the problem with some people in our community, we'll go out and stand in line 6 hours to get a new iPhone, to get the new Madden, to get the new Xbox or whatever. But we won't stand in line an hour and a half to vote. And if we don't change that, the laws in this country and the representatives who's supposed to represent us are never going to represent us.
Absolutely.
I think you make what's your name again?
That's TJ. That's another TJ.
Oh, hi TJ.
That's another TJ.
I think you make a really, a lot of valid points, and I think too is one thing that we sometimes fail to realize, even in the vote, us who are part of the voting population, is that we sometimes only pay attention to the big tickets, the mayors, the governors, and the president. We have to make sure that we come out and show and enforce during midterm elections. That's going to be major in 2018, and for our local politicians, because it starts at home. It starts with your councilwomen, your city representatives, your state legislatures, and then it'll funnel all itself up to the White House. But we can't just expect it to all just trickle down, come from the top down, I should say. It needs to start with your local politicians and then work its way up. And that's something that I think as a nation that we have to work on, because it's only certain political roles are valued over others. And that's how you sometimes get these people who are in Congress and, senators who've been there and for decades, 40 plus years, yeah. Like they got one foot in the grave, one foot on a banana peel. And it's like it's a shift has to happen.
Well, we also, not just in voting, and I think TJ was saying on my Facebook Live, after the civil rights, there has been a dropping of the ball, but drugs and systemic things have a lot to do with that. But I've said this before in the show, the generation that we are in, us three, Dominic K as well, the people that make it, we have to go back. We have to mobilize our people and make them understand, one, the importance of voting, because even to the most educated voter, after this election in the electoral college as it is, what's the point? That's the first thing you can say. What's the point?
Exactly.
The second thing is, not only when you vote, when this city here, we're talking about Baltimore, voted for city council, most of the people voted for who they voted for because they knew something, they knew somebody, they knew name recognition. And then when they get in, you don't hold these people accountable. They come around, they shake hands, they kiss babies, they give you a speed bump, they give you trash day, and then you never see them again.
Yeah. So
and EJ, that was the thing I was gonna say after my last comment was that it's not just voting. You have to vote and then stay active. If you look at, I know I definitely want people to vote more on the local level as well as the state and national level. But when you look at the national level, or even the state level, the reason that a lot of Republicans and some Democrats in certain areas don't move on guns is because the people who support gun rights, the Second Amendment or whatever, they're active. They never sleep. Yeah. They are always calling their congressmen, writing letters, having protests or whatever. And they show up to vote to say, hey, if you do anything on guns, we're going to vote you out. And us as an African-American community, we got to come at our politicians the same way, saying that if you do anything that doesn't help further our people, we're voting you out. On to the next one. And you got to hold these people accountable. You can't show up on election day and then go to sleep until the next election. You have to stay mobilized the entire 2 years, 4 years, or whatever the election cycle is for that particular office.
Absolutely. I agree. And I definitely appreciate you calling, my good brother. And
no problem.
And he's a Dolphins fan?
He's a Dolphins fan. Unfortunately, he's a Dolphins fan.
Don't do that.
Marine.
He knows everything else. He don't know football, but he knows everything else.
I mean, he's feeling good that the Dolphins went 10-6 last year. You know, me and him go back and forth. But thank you so much, T. I will see you on Sunday, my good man.
All right, man. Thanks for having me.
All right. And
right.
I want to move off this though,
okay, because
I could probably have you guys here the whole 2 hours, but I can't today. But we're definitely gonna have you back, or you're gonna have me on your show.
A little bit. I think we do both.
Yeah, y'all better have me on my show. I'm coming for both of y'all. But with everything, I had some thoughts. I had some things I wanted to talk about. But moving on, we share things in common. Me and TJ are frat brothers. You are in one of the oldest black sororities in the nation. One of the most prominent. They're all very prominent, but definitely one of the most prominent sororities in the nation.
Yes.
With everything going on, you guys, I think, might have almost 10 years under your belt.
I just had 10 years.
This
April.
She got your 10 years. Okay.
DST, yes.
Okay.
Don't do it.
Just got your 10 years, young
we
buck.
We look good.
Young buck. So with that said, we just had our national convention here in Baltimore City. Mm-hmm. You guys were out in Vegas.
We were.
I missed that.
Me too.
You don't count anymore. You just had a baby. Mother. Yeah, you just had a baby. You couldn't go to Vegas. What are your thoughts on black fraternities and sororities and the relevance that they may or may not have today? And I'm gonna go with TJ.
Go ahead, babe.
The relevance.
Watch this. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. It's your world.
I feel like we're not as relevant.
Mm-hmm. Why? Why?
I feel like this newer generation they've become that. They got into the fraternity sororities, mm-hmm. and they kind of do their own thing. Mm-hmm. They don't really follow tradition as much. The community service, giving back to your community, that's like one of our main factors, and I don't really see that as much. It's really, I feel like people join it because it's cool, and we're becoming like the white organization. It's something that you did in college. It's no longer a lifelong commitment. I feel like soon people are going to be like, I used to be an alpha. I used to be.
They've actually done that.
So yeah. I think that's the difference. We were built on a forever. You continue. I know a lot of people who aren't active. I know a lot of people who, they're Greek when it's convenient for them.
Absolutely.
But they're not Greek all the time. And I think that's a major thing. That's the major issue. So there's a lot of people joining the organizations because something cool. Who's the hottest on the yard? I can't be a delta, so what can I be? I can't be an alpha, so what can I be? Mm-hmm. People aren't doing it because, this organization does work and I want to be able to do work, continue work. It's really about how's it going to make my status. So I think that's been the major difference for me from what I've viewed.
I would agree. Danny?
I definitely think there's been a shift. I mean, even in the 10 years that I've been
Short 10
a member,
years.
yes, that I've been a member of my sorority, that's Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Thank you.
Nice plug.
And when I'm actually talking to some of my sorors, they're chiming in on my Instagram live, and they're saying, you know, it isn't what it used to be. That in a lot of ways it has become more of a popularity contest. That and that also that this is, you know, their words, that that Black Greeks were in the past were leaders in the community, not just leaders in the organization. And so it's not like how it used to be. You know, I'm an eternal optimist, so I do believe that there are always people who are joining because they feel it's, you know, there's something about being in, you know, AKA or SGRO or Delta or Alpha or Kappa or whoever that speaks to them. And that's why they want to be a part of something bigger than themselves, because that's one thing I wanted for myself when I was an interest. But I feel as though there are still people out there who seek that same belonging, seek that need to serve. But there are some people who are joining because they, you know, see things not in social media, in our pop culture, and they see, you know, they see the fun stuff. They don't necessarily see all the work that goes in behind the scenes. That's definitely been a consistent issue for, you know, years and years, and probably for years to come, which is that everybody sees all the end product. They don't see everything. They
don't want to work, the sacrifice.
Yeah, you know, and you know, and like TJ was saying, you know, some people don't treat it like a lifetime commitment. You know, of course, life happens. You know, sometimes people ebb and flow as things come up in their adult life, but it's always meant for you to come back to it. Because for me, Delta is home. Delta is such a major part of my life. So, yes, things have shifted. I hope that they'll change, but you know, if anything, all we can do as members of these organizations is try to be as discerning as possible when letting in applicants and trying to really vet them and know that they're what they're here to do. And it's not just about strolling and stepping and wearing letters and, you know, getting chose by, you know, looking by, you know, your
chose.
Basically, because, you know, sometimes it's just like, you know, you go dating a Greek guy and he validates you because you're a Greek, and it
always comes back to that somehow. It always comes back to that somehow.
Sometimes.
Shade.
And to kind of go off of that, you know,
Tom here, DK.
People are picked before to be a part of these organizations. It was like you were lucky, and now it's like anybody can join. Like the criteria have been diminished so much that, you know, before it used to be like you had to be top notch, you had to be well known of doing community service, and now it's just like, can we just get whoever we can get?
Your resume had to be.
It's no longer what it was. Anybody can become an alpha now. Anybody can become a delta. Like, it's not hard work anymore. Before, you were lucky. Before, if you got an opportunity to become a member of these organizations, it was like a rite of passage. Like, you were one of the lucky ones. But now everyone can get it.
Real quick, 2 minutes, because I have my next guest here, and I didn't know you guys were gonna go in. I mean, I knew you would. You didn't disappoint. I mean, 2 minutes from the collective body that is the Byersons. What advice would you give the next generation of Black fraternity and sorority members?
I would say.
Daddy has this.
Go ahead, babe.
All right. I'd say, you know, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. It's the brotherhood, the sisterhood, the networking, the you know, the exclusivity. Yeah, those are all perks, but make sure that you're doing it for the reasons that these organizations were founded, which was to serve African Americans, because they were founded during times where we were treated worse.
They were founded in times that are very similar.
Yes, in a lot of ways.
Similar, but definitely not the same.
Definitely not the same.
Right.
Like you said. And, you know, do your research. Make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. And if after you do the correct research and you really think over it and you take the time to, you know, ask yourself, if is this really what I want, then go for it. You know, so that's my hope for the next generation of Black Greeks, because those are the reasons why I joined. And because I wanted to be a part of something bigger than myself. I wanted to serve my community. I wanted to serve my campus. If those are the reasons in your heart, then you'll be fine. If it's not, then it's not for you. Start a club.
Do social committee.
To piggyback, definitely do your history.
Absolutely.
Understand what they did, understand what they went through, and that should help you know that this is a lifelong and continue that, because it's kind of a slap in the face of the founders that you're not active still. You know, don't join it just because of all the cool things that come with it, because it's hard work. You know, we're going on. What am I going on? 8 years.
You were 3
years.
Going
on 8 years, and I've been active every time. You know,
you need a little push every now and then.
Nah, I've always been active.
But
I've always been active.
Active beyond financials. But when you're slacking, okay,
I'm human.
I'm always gonna be there.
My big brother
always gonna be there.
My big brother's always there.
Always gonna be there.
But saying that to say, you know, when you join this organization, understand that, you know, finances come with it, because that's what keeps it afloat. And if you can spend money on weed, alcohol, tables, sneakers, you can put your money aside to make sure that you stay active and be able to vote and help communities and do something bigger, you know. If you don't want to do it for life, for the lifetime, then don't do it. Just be friends with people.
Don't do it at all.
They'll still show you love.
Don't do it at all. Well, I'd like to thank the Byersons. This was Interview with the Byersons.
Thank you for having us.
1 hour down, and we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to take some pictures with them, thank them. And if they want to stick around, they can. And I'm going to have my next guest come up. Thank you, too. Appreciate you guys. All right. We'll be right back.